He'd been 3 days into a solo mining survey on the asteroid belt's edge when the distress signal tore through every frequency at once. Not human. Not registered. Not anything in the colonial database. His fingers flew across the console, triangulating the source, a damaged vessel spinning in a decaying orbit around a barren moon. Every protocol said ignore it. Every instinct said the same. But the medical override code embedded in the transmission changed everything. Someone was dying. Marcus sealed his suit and launched the rescue pod. The damaged ship grew larger in his viewport, massive, organic curves that seemed grown rather than built, hull plating that shimmered like oil on water. Breaches vented atmosphere in crystalline clouds. He'd never seen anything like it. The airlock accepted his emergency coupling without resistance. Inside, the corridors pulsed with bioluminescent light, dying by sections. Bodies lined the passages, guards in ceremonial armor, their faces hidden behind masks that had cracked to reveal features almost human but not quite. Elongated skulls. Eyes too large. Skin that reflected light like pearl. He followed the medical beacon deeper. Past shattered chambers. Through halls where the walls themselves seemed to weep. The ship was more than damaged. It was morning. The throne room stopped him cold. A male figure knelt on the floor, cradling something small. His armor was gold and black, fitted with technology Marcus couldn't begin to understand. When he looked up, his face was a sculpture of controlled despair. Human. The word came out in perfect English, though the translator implant at the alien's throat glowed hot. You should not have come. I'm a doctor. Marcus moved forward, medkit already open. The beacon was not meant for you. The alien shifted, and Marcus saw what he held. A child. Perhaps 6 years old by human standards, though her proportions suggested something else. Her skin had lost its luster, turned gray as stone. Her breath came in shallow gasps that rattled. Marcus dropped to his knees beside them. Let me help. Your medicine cannot touch her. The alien king, because nothing else fit that bearing, spoke with absolute certainty. Our physicians tried everything before they died defending us. This is poison. Manufactured. Political. Then, why did you send the beacon? I did not. She did. The king looked down at his daughter. In her delirium, she activated every system still functioning. Called out to anyone who might hear. Even though I told her there was no hope. The child's eyes fluttered open. They were violet, deep as nebulas, and they fixed on Marcus with startling clarity. Her lips moved. No sound came out, but the translator caught something anyway. Please. Marcus's hands were already moving. He'd treated poisonings on 3 colonies, survived a plague ship quarantine, spent 2 years in deep space emergency medicine. He pulled out the scanner, and the king didn't stop him. The readings made no sense at first. Cellular structure that operated on different principles, blood chemistry that defied comparison. But poison was poison. It disrupted. It corrupted. It killed the same way across species. Hemlock derivative. He muttered, cross-referencing against the xenobiology database he downloaded for cataloging alien plant life. Similar structure to your neural inhibitors. It's shutting down her respiratory system. Can you stop it? Maybe. If I can synthesize a chelating agent fast enough. He looked up at the king. But I'll need access to your medical bay. And I'll need her stable for the next 30 minutes. The king's expression didn't change, but something shifted in his eyes. Hope was too strong a word. Possibility, perhaps. He stood in one fluid motion, lifting his daughter, as if she weighed nothing. Follow. The medical bay was half destroyed, but the synthesizers still functioned. Marcus uploaded the compound formula and prayed to gods he didn't believe in that the machine could translate human chemistry to alien biology. The king laid his daughter on a table that adjusted to her form automatically. What is your name, human? Marcus Chin. I am Kelverith. High King of the Ethel Collective. He paused. If she dies, I will not harm you. You came when no one else would. That matters. She won't die. Marcus said it with more confidence than he felt. The synthesizer hummed, building molecules atom by atom. What happened? Who did this? Rivals. Those who believe my reforms weaken our people. Kelvritha's hand rested on his daughter's forehead. They poisoned the ceremonial wine at her naming celebration. Killed 43 of my court. Would have killed my queen if she hadn't been off-world negotiating the treaty your people refused. Marcus looked up sharply. Treaty? First contact. Peaceful terms. Your government declined to even hear the proposal. Kelvritha's voice held no accusation, just fact. So we withdrew. And our enemies used that perceived weakness to strike. The synthesizer chimed. Marcus grabbed the vial, loaded it into the injector, and pressed it against the child's neck. The compound hissed into her bloodstream. For 3 heartbeats, nothing happened. Then she gasped. A full breath. Her skin flickered, pearl sheen returning in patches. Her eyes opened fully, focused on her father. Papa? Kelvritha's composure shattered. He pulled her close, and Marcus looked away from something too private for witnessing. But the king's voice found him anyway. You have given me everything, Marcus Chin. Name your price. Marcus packed his medkit slowly. Get your family somewhere safe. That's payment enough. Unacceptable. Kelvra stood, his daughter cradled against his chest. She watched Marcus with those nebula eyes, curious now instead of dying. You will come with us. My queen must meet the human who saved our daughter when his own people turned away from peace. I'm nobody. Just a field doctor on a mining survey. You are the man who answered a call he had every reason to ignore. Who saw a dying child and refused to accept it. Kelvrith moved to a still-functioning console. I am transmitting coordinates. Bring your ship. We will escort you. Your ship is dying. I have already called for others. They will arrive within the hour. The king's gaze pinned him. Please. My daughter lives because of you. Let my queen offer proper thanks. The child spoke then, voice soft but clear. Will you come? I want to tell Mama about the human who knew how to fix poison. Marcus looked at her. At the hope in those alien eyes. At the father who'd been ready to lose everything. And he thought about the treaty Earth had rejected. About the opportunity for something better than humanity's endless expansion through force. Okay. I'll come. Kelvritha's ship limped into formation with 3 others that arrived like silver ghosts. They jumped to hyperspace with Marcus's pod locked in their hold, and he wondered what exactly he'd agreed to. The king had said his queen would offer thanks. He had no idea that gratitude could change everything. The Ethel flagship resembled a city more than a vessel. Organic towers spiraled through spaces that defied physics, connected by bridges of light. Gardens grew in open chambers where the walls were transparent to the void. Marcus walked through corridors beside Kelvrith while guards in living armor watched with eyes that missed nothing. The child, Celine, he'd learned, held her father's hand and Marcus's attention. She'd recovered fully during the jump, color restored, movement graceful. Now she pointed at everything, explaining in a mix of her language and translator-assisted English what each thing meant. That's the memory garden where grandfather's essence lives. Those are honor guards from the 3rd moon. That panel shows every ship in the fleet. She tugged Marcus's sleeve. Do you have daughters? No. I'm not married. Why not? Celine, Kelvrith said gently. Humans choose their own time for such things. But he's old enough. She studied Marcus with concerning intensity. And he's kind. Mama says kindness matters most. They entered a chamber that made Marcus stop breathing. It stretched hundreds of meters in every direction, walls displaying star fields so real he felt like he was falling through space. At the center, on a throne that seemed carved from a single massive gemstone, sat a woman who radiated authority like heat. Queen Lyrathin was taller than her husband, built like a warrior despite robes that flowed like water. Her face held angles that suggested both beauty and danger. When she looked at Marcus, he felt measured down to his atoms. The human. Her voice filled the chamber without echoing. Who saved my daughter when his kind wanted nothing to do with us? Marcus bowed awkwardly, unsure of protocol. I'm just a doctor, Your Majesty. I did what anyone would. No. She descended from the throne in 3 flowing steps. You did what almost no one would. You heard a call from an unknown species, boarded a dying ship, and risked yourself for a child you'd never met. She stopped before him. Do you understand what that means to us? That I did my job? Kelverith made a sound that might have been a laugh. Lyrathan's expression didn't change. We are an old people, Dr. Chin. We have made first contact with 47 species. Of those, 39 attacked us on sight or attempted to capture our vessels for study. 7 negotiated careful peace. Your people are the first to simply refuse acknowledgement. I can't speak for Earth's government. We know. Which makes your individual choice more valuable. She gestured, and servants brought forward a chair. Sit. Please. You've traveled far. Marcus sat because his knees felt uncertain. Celine immediately climbed into the chair beside him, swinging her legs. Tell Mama how you fixed me. Use the small words like you did with Papa. So Marcus explained. Lyrathan listened with absolute focus, occasionally asking questions that proved she understood complex biochemistry better than most human doctors. When he finished, she was silent for a long moment. You modified a human chelating agent to match ethyl neurochemistry in under 30 minutes, using a damaged synthesizer and no reference database for our biology. I got lucky. Luck is being prepared when opportunity presents itself. Lyrathan looked at her husband. You chose well to bring him here. Kelverith inclined his head. The child insisted. Because he smells like hope, Celine said seriously. The doctors who tried to save me smelled like despair. Even you both did. But he smelled like he believed I'd get better. Marcus wondered if that was translation error or actual ethyl-sensory perception. Either way, it made him uncomfortable. I should probably head back. My survey will be overdue, and we would like to offer you a position. Lyrathan interrupted. Chief medical liaison between our people and humanity. You would live here on the flagship. Work with our physicians to create compatible treatment protocols. And help us understand why your people fear first contact. The offer landed like a physical blow. I'm not a diplomat. Exactly. We've tried diplomats. They speak in circles and trust nothing. She leaned forward. But you trusted your skills and acted. That's the human we need to bridge this gap. Earth won't listen to me. I'm nobody. You're the man who saved the heir to the Ethel Collective. Kelverith moved to stand beside his wife. Your government may not care about that. But the other 47 species we have contact with will. And so will the 17 species we've discovered but haven't approached yet. Human courage and human medical genius demonstrated when it mattered most. That story spreads. Marcus's mind raced. You want to use me as propaganda. We want to use you as an example. Lyrathan corrected. Of what humanity could be if it looked beyond its borders with something other than weapons or suspicion. And if I say no? Then we send you home with our thanks and gifts appropriate to saving a royal life. No hard feelings. No consequences. Lyrathan's expression softened fractionally. But we hope you'll say yes. Not for politics. For her. Celine had been quiet, watching the adults talk. Now she spoke. Will you stay? At least a little while? I want to show you the places I'm not supposed to go. Marcus found himself smiling despite the weight of the offer. You're not supposed to tell guests about those places. I trust you. You didn't let me die. She said it with perfect simplicity. That means you're safe. The logic was childish and perfect. Marcus looked from her to her parents, seeing not alien royalty but a family who'd almost been destroyed. Who'd survived because of a random distress call and a human too stubborn to ignore it. I'll stay for a month, he heard himself say. Trial basis. I'll work with your medical team and see if I can actually help bridge anything. But I can't promise I'm the right person for this. That doubt is why you might be exactly right, Kelverith said. Lyrathan nodded. 1 month. That's acceptable. We'll arrange quarters and access to the medical facilities. You'll work with Chief Physician Morith. He'll challenge everything you think you know. Looking forward to it. Liar, Celine said cheerfully. You're scared. I can smell it. Marcus laughed. It felt surreal, sitting in an alien throne room, making deals with beings humanity had refused to acknowledge, while a child who'd been dying hours ago called out his fear. But it felt more real than anything he'd done in years. Lyrathan assigned him quarters that were larger than his entire mining hab. Gardens grew on the walls, bioluminescent and beautiful. The bed adjusted to his form automatically. A viewport showed the star field they traveled through, jumping between systems he couldn't name. That first night, he couldn't sleep. His mind kept circling back to the choice he'd made. 30 minutes of work in a dying medical bay, and now he was living among aliens as humanity's accidental ambassador. The door chimed. When he opened it, Kelverith stood outside alone. May I enter? Marcus stepped aside. The king moved through the quarters, examining nothing, before finally speaking. I wanted to explain something my wife won't say. Something Celine doesn't understand yet. He turned. The poison used on my daughter was designed specifically to resist our medicine. Our enemies knew our treatment protocols, our biochemistry, every defense we had. They made something that would kill her slowly while we watched helplessly. I'm sorry. You misunderstand. I'm not asking for sympathy. I'm telling you this so you understand what you did. Kelverith's eyes held something dangerous. In saving her with methods we never considered, using chemistry we didn't know was compatible, you proved that our enemy's planning was incomplete. You created hope where there was none. Do you know what that means to a people who've lost half their royal family to assassination? Marcus thought carefully. That outside perspective matters. That isolation kills us. Kelverith's voice dropped. We withdrew from humanity not because we feared you, but because we feared ourselves. Your people's aggression reminded us of what we used to be. Conquerors. Colonizers. We spent 3,000 years learning peace, and seeing your expansion patterns triggered old fears. So we hid. And in hiding, we let our enemies grow stronger. You think working with humans would help? I think you already did help, without knowing our politics or our history or anything beyond a child needed saving. Kelverith moved to the viewport. Lyrathan is right. You smell like hope. Celine wasn't being metaphorical. Our people can detect emotional resonance as scent. Most beings smell like their dominant state. You walked onto a dying ship and smelled like determination. That's rare. Marcus joined him at the viewport. What do you smell like? Right now? Gratitude. The king smiled slightly. Usually? Duty. Lyrathan smells like strategy. Celine smells like curiosity. Our enemies smell like ambition. He paused. When you saved my daughter, the ship's sensors recorded everything. The guards who survived saw it. By now, the story has spread through our entire civilization. The human who answered a call meant for no one and saved the air with impossible medicine. No pressure. Enormous pressure. Which is why I'm here. Kelverith faced him fully. You can leave any time. 1 month, 1 year, 1 day. Whatever you need. But know that staying matters. Not for politics. For what it represents. That someone can see past fear to help. Marcus thought about Earth's rejection of the Ethel. About humanity's endless expansion through force. About the fact that he'd spent 3 years alone in an asteroid belt because he couldn't stand the politics of colonial medicine anymore. I'll do my best. That's all we ask. After Kelverith left, Marcus stood at the viewport for hours, watching alien stars streak past. Wondering what he'd gotten himself into. Hoping it was something good. Morning came in a slow brightening of bioluminescent walls. Marcus found his way to the medical bay following the map Lyrathan had provided. Chief Physician Morith met him at the entrance, ancient by Ethel standards, his skin pale as moonlight, his eyes sharp as scalpels. The human. You're shorter than expected. You're taller. We're even. Morith made a sound that might have been approval. Come. I'll show you what you don't know. The medical bay spanned 3 levels of interconnected spaces where the line between biology and technology dissolved completely. Patients rested in pods that monitored and adjusted their chemistry in real time. Synthesizers grew organs from base proteins. Scanners revealed structures down to quantum states. Your medicine is crude, Morith said bluntly. Chemical hammers that disrupt as much as they heal. How you saved the princess is baffling. Sometimes crude works. Sometimes. Morith pulled up a holographic display. But we need more than sometimes. Show me your process. Every step. Every decision. Marcus walked him through it. Morith challenged everything: assumptions about cellular structure, choices of compounds, timing of administration. The session lasted 4 hours. By the end, Marcus's head hurt, and his confidence was shredded. Good, Morith said. Now you're ready to learn. They worked together for the next month. Marcus taught Morith about human medicine's brute force approaches and rapid field improvisation. Morith taught Marcus about Ethel medicine's precision and deep integration of biology with technology. They argued constantly. They learned continuously. Celine visited daily, usually when she was supposed to be studying something else. She'd sit and watch them work, asking questions that were either brilliantly insightful or completely random. Why do humans only have 2 arms? Don't you feel unbalanced? Can you smell diseases like we can? What's the worst injury you ever fixed? That last one stopped Marcus. He looked at the child who'd been dying and decided on honesty. A mining accident on Titan. Explosive decompression. 7 casualties. I saved 3. He paused. The other 4 I couldn't. That's the worst injury. The one you can't fix. Celine absorbed this seriously. Papa says you can't save everyone. That trying is what matters. Your father's wise. He's sad a lot. Since the poisoning. Even though I got better. She tilted her head. Are you sad? Sometimes. Me too. I miss the people who died at my party. Her voice stayed steady. 43. I knew 12 of them by name. The others I just knew as the ones who smiled at me. Marcus had no response to that. What did you say to a child mourning people murdered to get to her? Morris spoke instead. Sadness honors loss. But it can't be where we live. I know. Mama says the same thing. Celine hopped down from her perch. That's why I like visiting here. You both smell like forward. Like the next thing. She left, and Morith watched her go. She's stronger than either parent gives her credit for. She's had to be. Yes. And that's the tragedy. The old physician turned back to the displays. Now, show me this appendectomy procedure. It seems barbaric, but I want to understand the principles. The month passed faster than Marcus expected. He learned ethobiology until he could diagnose by scent like they did. He taught human emergency medicine until Morith's team could handle trauma with equipment they never needed before. And slowly, carefully, he helped draft protocols for treating either species using the other's methods. On the final day, Lyrathan summoned him to the throne room. Kelveris stood beside her, and Celine sat on a smaller throne, looking formal and uncomfortable. Your month is complete, Lyrathan said. Will you stay longer? Marcus had known the question was coming. He'd spent weeks thinking about it, weighing responsibility against desire, duty against fear. Now he looked at the 3 Ethel who'd become something close to friends, thought about the work still undone, and made his choice. I'll stay another year. After that, we renegotiate. Lyrathan smiled for the first time since he'd met her. Acceptable. You'll need a formal position. We've created a new one, Cross-Species Medical Director. You'll oversee integration of human and ethyl medical practices across the fleet. That's a lot of responsibility for someone you met a month ago. You saved my daughter's life. You've earned trust. She gestured, and guards brought forward a case. And now, we offer the second part of our gratitude. I thought the job was the gratitude. That's compensation for work. This is reward for character. Lyrathan opened the case. Inside lay something that looked like jewelry, and technology merged, a braided cord of silver and light that pulsed gently. A life bond, Kelvrith explained. It's difficult to translate. In your terms, it's a family tie. You wear it, and you become part of our family line. Not legally. Not politically. But emotionally. Spiritually. You become someone we're bound to protect and honor as our own. Marcus stared at the cord. I can't accept that. It's too much. It's exactly right, Celine said. She'd come down from her throne to stand before him. You saved me. That makes you family? The bond just makes it official. Your people won't understand. They'll think I'm being used. Your people aren't here. We are. Lyrathan lifted the cord. And we want you to know you belong somewhere. That answering that distress call meant something beyond politics or medicine. It meant you became ours. Marcus felt something crack in his chest. He'd spent years alone by choice, believing connection meant complications. But these aliens were offering something he'd forgotten existed, unconditional acceptance earned through action. How do I wear it? Lyrathan placed it around his neck. The cord settled against his skin and warmed immediately, pulsing in rhythm with his heartbeat. He felt nothing different. Everything different. Now you're family, Celine said happily. Which means I can show you the places I'm not supposed to go without getting in trouble because you're supposed to watch me. Kelvrith groaned. Lyrathan laughed, actually laughed. And Marcus realized he'd just been adopted by alien royalty through the world's strangest sequence of events. The year that followed changed everything. Marcus worked with Morith to establish joint medical facilities on 3 colonies. He trained ethyl physicians in human emergency response, and human doctors in ethyl diagnostic techniques. And slowly, carefully, he helped negotiate the first real exchange between Earth and the Ethyl Collective. It wasn't easy. Earth's government remained suspicious. But when Marcus transmitted recordings of successful cross-species treatments, when he showed how ethyl technology could cure diseases humanity considered terminal, resistance began crumbling. The breakthrough came from an unexpected source. A plague hit a human colony on the Outer Rim, something novel, aggressive, and completely resistant to human medicine. Earth's authorities sent desperate calls to anyone who might help. Marcus received it aboard the flagship and immediately mobilized every resource he'd built. Ethyl medical ships jumped to the colony. Morith's team worked alongside human doctors, synthesizing treatments that combined both approaches. In 3 weeks, they'd contained and cured an outbreak that should have killed millions. The humans who'd been saved didn't care about politics anymore. They cared about the alien physicians who'd worked themselves to exhaustion saving people they'd never met. Earth's government couldn't ignore that kind of gratitude. The formal treaty came 6 months later. Earth and the Ethyl Collective established diplomatic relations, medical exchange programs, and cultural liaison positions. Marcus was named Chief Medical Officer of the newly formed Joint Species Health Initiative. But the real reward came on a quiet evening when Celine, now 7 and frighteningly intelligent, found him in the medical bay reviewing research data. Marcus? He looked up from the displays. What's wrong? Nothing's wrong. I just wanted to say thank you. For what? I haven't done anything today. For answering the call. She climbed into the chair beside him. Papa told me that most people wouldn't have. That the odds of a human doctor being close enough to hear and brave enough to come were tiny. But you did. And now everything's different. Marcus thought about the dying ship, the poisoned child, the impossible choice to get involved. About how one decision to help had spiraled into changing relations between species. I just did what I could. That's what makes you family. Celine leaned against his shoulder. You don't do things for reward. You do them because they're right. Mama says that's the rarest kind of courage. Marcus sat with the child who'd been dying and was now thriving, wearing a life bond that marked him as part of an alien royal family, working in a position that existed because he'd answered a distress call he had every reason to ignore. And he thought about how saving one life had somehow saved so much more. Hey Celine? Yeah? Want to help me calibrate the new synthesizers? I need someone with good instincts for biochemistry. Her face lit up. Really? Really. You're smart enough. And it's important work. She dove into the task with enthusiasm, asking questions that challenged his assumptions, making connections he'd missed. Working beside her, Marcus finally understood what Lyrathan had meant about hope. It wasn't about grand gestures or perfect solutions. It was about showing up when called, doing what you could, and trusting that small acts of courage could ripple into something bigger. Years later, when humans and Ethel worked together as naturally as breathing, people would ask Marcus how it started. He'd smile and tell them about a distress call in the dark, a dying child, and a choice to help when help seemed impossible. But privately, in quiet moments, he'd touch the life bond at his neck and remember something simpler, that he'd been adopted by alien royalty not for saving a princess, but for proving that sometimes the best reward is knowing you did something that mattered. And that family, whether human or alien, was always worth answering the call.